Who are you? Or perhaps better yet, who am I? I'm sure the second question caught your attention far more than the first, given, for many of you in this room, I exist primarily as your own interpretation of what I present to you now. So again, better still even, who do you think I am? I'm a girl, I'm white, I have brown hair and blue eyes, but that all covers the broader subject of what I am. The word who implies a greater depth that's gathered more from my personality and actual qualities than my features, no? Whether I'm hardworking, snarky, persistent, or impatient should be far more telling than my brown hair and blue eyes. But given your likely limited knowledge about who I am as a person, could it be fair to say that this what takes on an otherwise unfulfilled role of informing it? The book Thinking Fast and Slow by Daniel Kahneman models two ways of thinking that your mind uses, which he refers to as your System 1 and your System 2. Your System 1 is classified as your intuitive thought, the easy assumptions your brain makes to avoid using your System 2. It's quick. You don't even realize you're using it. Whereas your System 2 is a much more thorough thinking process that often produces much more accurate and reasonable answers at the cost of it being slower. So applying this to my what and who, your System 1 might have a split-second judgment about who someone is just from what you see them as. But if you looked a little deeper and used your System 2, you might realize you've reached an incorrect conclusion. And just because someone has, say, expensive clothes or speaks a certain way, it doesn't indicate anything substantial about who they actually are. When I first started at private school, only a couple months ago, I came in with the rough idea that it'd be filled with snobbish rich kids in their expensive clothes and an unrecognized privilege from being the ones fortunate enough to afford this idea of a better education. With that what informing my who, all the preconceptions I had of private school kids came flooding in, superficial, privileged, undeserving, and from there I struggled to integrate. Coming from a state school filled with very different people, and then going into supposed enemy territory, I pretty much refused to engage. How could I, when attending a private school, undermine a key belief of mine that education of equal quality should be available for all? Why should a paywall be put up for a basic human right? If you'd asked me a couple of years ago, ending up at a private school never would have been in my mind. So what changed? How did I end up here? Well, to me, the existence of private schools implies a huge issue with the state school system. It's a basic idea of supply and demand. If the state school system is satisfactory, then what's the need for privately run ones? Sure, there's a big difference school to school anyway, but given my limited experience of only 3 schools, 2 state, my primary and secondary, and 1 private, my 6th form, I doubt I could provide a truly comprehensive argument that takes everything into account about education overall. So going back to how I ended up here, I'll put it simply, I don't really know. Maybe a taste for something new, maybe an excitement to see what this whole private school thing was about. My parents were enthusiastic for me to attend a school with a focus on independent growth and support due to my siblings' experience of our old 6th form. But at the end of the day, it was me with the control over the decision. And I consider myself quite a stubborn person, so how did I overlook such a key value of mine? Well, the thing is, again, I don't think I really did. I applied so I could somewhat mentally keep my parents happy, and then I kept myself happy under the guise that there'd be no chance of me getting in. And then, evidently, I got in. As I mentioned earlier, I didn't have the easiest acclimation due to my own resistance. My original judgment of the students at my new school influenced me to distance myself from them due to the fear of becoming part of what I perceived them to become what I thought I couldn't stand. So now, when I stand here in front of you recounting this, I hope I don't sound like the very thing I've said I don't want to be, or some sort of inversely snobbish, worse version of it. But perhaps all of this could have been avoided if I didn't see everything as so black and white. It's an experience to grow from at the very least, being plunged into a completely new environment that was all too easy to despise or dismiss. But looking forward can make a lot of things look a little clearer with this newfound perspective, this newfound importance of seeing people for who they are, not what.